Chapter 499. Boom! There was an earth-shattering explosion and a dragon's roar resounded throughout the area. In the end, the fiery dragon was no match for the dragon. It exploded and disappeared into thin air. Roar! Although the tricolor dragon had shrunk significantly, it still charged toward Xingwei. Xingwei's body shook violently as he retreated frantically. There was dead silence at the scene. Lu Ming was too powerful. Not only had he broken through to the Martial King realm, but Xingwei, who was at the peak of LV2 Martial King realm, was no match for him. This was unbelievable. Boom! Lu Ming strode forward and waved his hand. A huge palm print shrouded Xingkong. Let's attack together. Xingkong roared. On the other side, Xingwei had also recovered his breath. He unleashed his full strength and charged toward Lu Ming. The combined power of the two was extremely terrifying. However, it was all in vain. Boom! Boom! After a few explosions, Xingwei coughed out blood and retreated like a cannonball. Then, there was another crisp slap. Lu Ming had slapped Xingkong's face again. The third slap. Lu Ming's calm voice was heard. Die, die, you little bastard, I want you to die without a burial place. Xingkong roared like a madman. He was about to lose his mind. Who was he? He was a direct descendant of the Xing family and a peerless genius. He had grown up with a silver spoon in his mouth. Who dared to treat him like this? Right now, he had been slapped 3 times by Lu Ming in front of everyone. This was simply more unbearable than death. You talk too much. Fight! Lu Ming moved and charged toward Xingkong again. Xingkong roared in anger and attacked Lu Ming like a madman. However, it was useless. Slap! He was slapped hard on the face again. It was crisp and clear. The fourth slap. Lu Ming's calm voice was heard again. Ah 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 ah. Xingkong roared wildly. He was on the verge of a mental breakdown. The others felt a chill in their gums. It was as if they had been slapped in the face. Lu Ming, quickly release Xingkong. Do you know that you've already caused a disaster? Xingwei roared from the side. His face was filled with shock, and he didn't dare to help. What a joke. I just gave him a few slaps, and it's a disaster. Just now, he attacked the Eastern Sky Monastery. Why don't you say he caused a calamity? Lu Ming sneered and chided. Lu Ming, do you know that we are direct descendants of the Xing family? We are different from you. Xingwei roared, especially the direct descendants of the Xing family. What bullshit direct descendant of the Holy Family? In my eyes, he's worthless. Paw! As soon as Lu Ming said that, Lu Ming slapped Xingkong's face again. The fifth slap. Paw! The sixth slap. The seventh slap. The applause continued. Everyone at the scene was dumbfounded as they stared blankly at the scene. Especially Sheng Wushuang. His face was completely drained of blood, and his body was trembling from fear. At this moment, Xingkong's face was swollen like a pig's head. His meridians were sealed, and he had lost all ability to resist. Stop! When Lu Ming finished his 8th slap and was about to deliver his 9th slap, an earth-shaking roar came from afar. Huh, Lu Ming, you're dead for sure. Why haven't you released Xingkong yet? Xingwei was overjoyed when he heard that voice. That voice belonged to Elder Xingyao. Lu Ming frowned, and a trace of coldness flashed in his eyes. His palm didn't stop as he delivered his 9th slap. Paw! Xingkong was sent flying by the impact. How dare you? You're courting death. That voice rang out again, filled with rage and incomparably cold killing intent. Shwa! Shwa! 2 figures appeared at the scene. One was the Thunder Hall Master, and the other was the Xing family's elder, Xingyao. At this moment, their eyes were filled with terrifying killing intent. Damn it, that little bastard Lu Ming has broken through to the martial king realm, and his battle strength is so strong. Chao, Chong Kong, and the others must be in deep trouble. The Thunder Hall Master roared in his heart. Previously, he had thought that someone was helping Lu Ming, but now it was proven that Lu Ming didn't need anyone's help. The experts he had sent were no match for Lu Ming. He had already tried his best to overestimate Lu Ming. He had set up a series of traps and even sent a third-level Martial King and 4 second-level Martial King experts to deal with Lu Ming, a half-step king. This was simply a trap that was impossible to fail, but it had failed. Little bastard, I told you to stop. Didn't you hear me? Xingyao stared coldly at Lu Ming. Didn't I stop? Lu Ming smiled faintly. Lu Ming, do you know who this is? This is the Xing family's elder. You dare to quibble in front of the Xing family's elder? You're courting death. Furthermore, you dared to injure the Xing family's elites. You've already committed a great crime. Why don't you kneel down and cripple your own cultivation and admit your guilt? The Thunder Hall Master berated. Admit my guilt? Hee, that guy attacked the East Sky Courtyard without any reason. According to the rules, he should be punished. I only retaliated. What crime am I guilty of? Lu Ming replied indifferently without any fear. Shut up. Who do you think you are? How can a lowly life be compared to the Xing family's direct descendant? Kneel down and admit your guilt. The Thunder Hall Master yelled. I'll kneel down to your mother. Old man, if you treat yourself as a dog, don't treat others as dogs. If you want to kneel down and lick the Xing family's elders' feet, go back and slowly kneel down. Lu Ming yelled. He was originally filled with killing intent towards the Thunder Hall Master. Now that the Thunder Hall Master was calling him a little bastard and asking him to kneel down and admit his guilt, Lu Ming was infuriated. He didn't give him any face. The other Empyrean Divine Guards were dumbfounded. This Lu Ming was simply too daring. He actually dared to curse the Thunder Hall Master in front of so many people. As expected, the Thunder Hall Master's face flushed red. His body trembled with rage. He pointed at Lu Ming and roared, "Disgraceful! Disgraceful! Brother Zheng, why waste words with him? Take him down and cripple his cultivation." Xingyao coldly shouted. He raised his hand, and a terrifying concept of fire erupted. It formed a giant flaming hand that grabbed at Lu Ming. The world was scorching hot. They were both using the concept of fire, but Xing Wei was trash when compared to Xingyao. The difference was like heaven and earth. There was simply no way to compare them. Not good. Lu Ming's expression changed. He could feel a terrifying aura of death approaching him. This aura was too strong. It wasn't something he could resist. The difference was too great. Let's go. The Divine Guard token glowed. Behind Lu Ming, the East Sky Courtyard's protective light screen cracked open. Lu Ming directly rushed in. Then, the light screen reformed. Hide? Is it useful to hide in there? Break for me. Xingyao coldly shouted. Boom! The giant flaming hand slammed into the East Sky Courtyard's light screen. The light screen shook violently. The entire mountain shook violently as if it was about to explode. But in the end, the light screen still managed to block this attack. Again. Chapter 500. The giant flaming palm was as big as a mountain as it slammed down on the East Sky Courtyard. Boom! The East Sky Courtyard shook violently. The light screen outside was also shaking violently as if it would explode at any moment. Although the light screen blocked the giant flaming palm, there was still a terrifying force that seeped into the light screen. In the courtyard, Lu Ming felt a strong impact. Bam! The terrifying force hit Lu Ming, causing Lu Ming to cough up blood. Xingyao was too strong. Although only a trace of force had seeped into the light screen, it was enough to injure Lu Ming. This old man. Lu Ming gritted his teeth. He wanted to enter the Temple of Paragon, but he realized that he couldn't. Damn, is there a need to do this? This old man is not someone I can fight against. Why can't I enter? Lu Ming was speechless. Little bastard, I can still cripple you even if you hide inside. Xingyao shouted coldly outside and slammed his palm out again. This time, it formed a giant palm that was several times bigger than before. It grabbed the entire East Sky Courtyard and pulled it out forcefully. He wanted to uproot the entire East Sky Courtyard. Rumble. The East Sky Courtyard shook violently as waves of force seeped in. Lu Ming's body was under great pressure, and cracking sounds could be heard. All the bones in his body were about to break. Stop! Stop now! At this moment, a few figures flew over at an incredible speed. Before they could finish their words, they had already appeared not far away. Palace Masters, 3 Palace Masters. Wind Palace Master, Fire Palace Master, and Metal Palace Master. Many Tian Divine Guards shouted. Xingyao, stop! Attacking other Tian Divine Guards like this has already violated the rules of the Tian Divine Palace. Stop now! The Palace Masters shouted one after another. How can you interrupt the Xing family's matters? Get lost! Xingyao was extremely domineering. He still shouted at the Palace Masters. You! The 3 Palace Masters looked at the East Sky Courtyard that was covered by the giant flaming palm and looked worried. Xingyao, you have already broken the rules. As the Palace Masters of the Tianxian Domain's Eastern Branch Palace, we have the responsibility to stop you. The Palace Master of Wind shouted. Boom! 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 The Wind, Fire and Metal Palace Masters struck out at the same time. 3 mighty attacks blasted towards Holy Glory. You overestimate yourself. Xingyao's eyes turned cold. A fiery red saber appeared in his other hand, and he slashed out. 1,000-meter-long flaming saber radiance slashed out violently, as if it could split open the sky. The attacks of the 3 Palace Masters crumbled under the blazing saber radiance. The expressions of the 3 Palace Masters changed drastically, and they quickly retreated. Peak King. Xingyao, you've broken through to the Peak King level? The Wind Hall leader and the others exclaimed. That's right. Do you still want to stop me? Xingyao said coldly. The Wind Hall leader and the others wore unpleasant expressions. A Peak King was already half a step into the first level of the Spirit God realm, the Spirit Ocean realm. Although the 3 of them were all kings, even if they joined forces, they would not be a match for a Peak King. Rumble. Although the inscription array around the Eastern Sky Courtyard was profound, it was on the verge of collapsing under Xingyao's attacks and was about to be pulled out. Lu Ming. Although the Wind Palace Master and the others were extremely anxious, there was nothing they could do against Xingyao, who had already broken through to the Peak King level. Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, you dare disrespect this old man? Only death awaits you. The Wind Palace Master sneered inwardly. As for Xing Wushuang, he was also ecstatic. Die, die! Lu Ming, no matter how arrogant you are, what use is it in front of the Xing family? In the Tianxian domain, apart from the Mu family, the Xing family is the sky. They are everything. Xing Wushuang laughed wildly in his heart. Just at this moment, a light breeze blew by, and the flame hand covering the Eastern Sky Monastery dissipated at a speed visible to the naked eye, turning into nothingness. The Eastern Sky Courtyard regained its calm. Puff! Within the Eastern Sky Courtyard, Lu Ming spat out several mouthfuls of blood. His clothes were stained with blood, and his face was pale and his aura weak. Just a moment ago, he had already been heavily injured. Old man! Lu Ming cursed as he lay on the ground. Outside the Eastern Sky Courtyard, Xingyao's expression changed. Mu Zhang! A solemn voice sounded from Xingyao's mouth. Without a sound, an old man in a green robe appeared with a faint smile on his face. This subordinate greets the palace master. The Wind Palace Master, Fire Palace Master, and the others, including the Thunder Palace Master, immediately bowed when they saw this elder. What? Palace Master? Ah! Could it be the Palace Master of the Eastern Palace of the Tianqian Domain? At this moment, many of the Empyrean Divine Guards were shocked. The Palace Master of the Eastern Palace of the Tianqian Domain was extremely elusive, and very few people had seen him before. Who would have thought that he would appear today? This subordinate greets the Palace Master. The Empyrean Divine Guards present all bowed to the elder in green robes. Damn it, wasn't Mu Zheng in seclusion? Why did he come out? Damn it! The Thunder Palace Master roared in his heart. You don't have to be so polite. Mu Zheng waved his sleeves, and a breeze blew. Everyone felt a gentle force supporting them as they straightened their bodies. Palace Master? Is the Palace Master here? In the Eastern Sky Courtyard, Lu Ming naturally heard the commotion outside, and his expression changed. Thereafter, he struggled to get up and walked out of the Eastern Sky Courtyard. As soon as Lu Ming walked out, everyone's eyes turned to look at Lu Ming. This little bastard is still alive. He can still move. The Thunder Palace Master thought to himself. The Wind Palace Master and the others heaved a sigh of relief. As for Xingyao, his eyes were filled with murderous intent. Mu Zheng, you came at the right time. This little bastard offended his superiors, contradicted his elders, and even injured the elites of the Xing family. He deserves to die. Now, take him down and hand him over to me for punishment in the central region. Xingyao said coldly. Hee, Xingyao, don't try to act like this in front of me. Do you think I don't know the face of the Xing family? Lu Ming beat up the people of the Xing family. That was your own fault. Who can you blame for your own incompetence? Do you have to contradict your elders? As an elder, if you don't do what an elder should do, shouldn't you contradict them? You can even hit them. Mu Zheng smiled faintly and glanced at the Thunder Palace Master. The Thunder Palace Master's face immediately turned pale, and his heart turned cold. Mu Zheng, it seems like you must interfere today. Xingyao's face turned ugly as he shouted. This is the Eastern Palace of the Tianqian Domain, and it is under my jurisdiction. What do you think if you cause trouble here? Mu Zheng said. Good, very good. Mu Zheng, I heard that you are about to open your spiritual sea and break through to the Sea of Soul Realm. Today, I will give it a try. Xingyao's eyes revealed a trace of battle intent. Let's fight in the sky. Mu Zheng's reply was simple. Swish! Swish! Mu Zheng and Xingyao's figures flashed as they rushed into the sky. Boom! Immediately after, an earth-shattering explosion sounded in the sky, and a powerful pressure spread out for hundreds of miles. Chapter 501. High up in the sky, it was as if a sun had exploded. A blazing storm descended from high up in the sky. Not good. The Wind Hall Master, Fire Hall Master, and several others moved and appeared above the crowd. With a wave of their hands, they formed a light screen that blocked the raging firestorm in the sky. Boom! 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 Following which, terrifying explosions rang out continuously in the sky. Those with lower cultivations could only feel their eardrums ringing. Their faces turned pale and they almost vomited blood. Those who were martial kings and above stared at the sky. However, most of them could not see the figures clearly. They could only see a ball of green energy and a ball of red energy clashing against each other. Every time they clashed, there would be an earth-shattering explosion. The blazing light even covered the sun in the sky. Fortunately, the two of them were fighting in the sky. If they were fighting on the ground within 100 miles would have been cracked. Is this the strength of a peak king? They are indeed very strong. Lu Ming raised his head and looked at the sky, clenching his fists tightly. This strength was indeed much stronger than his current strength. However, he was not discouraged at all. Instead, there was a burning desire to fight in his eyes. Give me 2 years and I will definitely surpass that old man. Lu Ming muttered. The battle in the sky continued and it became more and more intense. In the end, green and red light filled the entire sky. The people below could no longer see what was happening above. About 2 minutes later. Hoo-hoo, the green and red light dissipated and 2 figures flew down from the sky. They were Mu Zheng and Xingyao. However, Xingyao was in a sorry state now. He was panting heavily and his face was pale. There was even a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. On the other hand, Mu Zheng was breathing calmly. His face was rosy and his clothes were neat. He was completely fine. Xingyao, I will let you off this time. Let's go. Leave the east of Tianqian region. Mu Zheng said. Good. Very good. Mu Zheng, do you think you can protect this little bastard? You are too naive. If my Xing family wants him dead, he will die. Xingyao shouted. Xingyao, do you think that the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace belongs to your Xing clan? The ruler of the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace is Emperor De. We're just helping Emperor De manage his territory. If the Holy Clan acts like this, sooner or later, you'll get into trouble. Mu Zheng shouted. Mu Zheng, my Xing clan is loyal and devoted. You don't need to use Martial Emperor De to pressure me. I'll say it right here. You can help him once, but you can't help him a second time. Offending my Xing clan, your fate is already sealed. Xingyao shouted coldly. Then, he looked at Lu Ming and said coldly, little bastard, just you wait. You won't live for long. Old man, I was just about to say this to you. I'll remember what happened today. You better wash your neck clean and wait. Sooner or later, I'll chop off your head. Lu Ming retorted sarcastically, giving tit for tat. Xingyao laughed out of anger. Cold killing intent burst out from his body as he stared at Lu Ming and said, it's useless to be sharp-tongued. Just you wait. Let's go back to the Xing clan. Xingyao waved his hand and led the way to the exit of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. Xing Kong and Xing Wei glanced at Lu Ming viciously. Then, they followed Xingyao and left in an instant. Elder, wait for me. Sheng Wushuang's face turned pale with fright. He didn't dare to stay here. If Xingyao and the others left, he would be in trouble. Therefore, he left with Xingyao and the others. That little bastard, he managed to escape again. Palace Master Lei cursed in his heart. Then, he left the place. The storm ended with Mu Zheng's arrival. Junior Lu Ming greets the Palace Master. Thank you for saving my life. Lu Ming came to Mu Zheng and cupped his fists. However, his mind was spinning rapidly. Mu Zheng's surname is also Mu. I wonder how he is related to Mulin's. Mu Zheng revealed a gentle smile and said, you don't have to thank me. This is the Eastern Palace of the Tianqian domain and you are my Emperor Heaven Divine Guard. I should help you. At this moment, Palace Master Feng, Palace Master Hua, and Palace Master Jin also came forward. Lu Ming, are you alright? Palace Master Feng asked worriedly. Thank you for your concern, Palace Master Feng. It's just a small injury. It's nothing serious. Lu Ming said. That's good. Palace Master Feng and the others heaved a sigh of relief. Lu Ming, this spirit-enhancing pill is good for healing. Take it and go back to heal your injuries. Also, you have to increase your strength as soon as possible. I reckon that the Xing clan won't let this go. Mu Zheng looked at Lu Ming and said. Thank you, Palace Master. Lu Ming didn't refuse. He took the pill and bowed. Then, he turned around and returned to the East Sky Courtyard. Everyone, go back and cultivate. Mu Zheng waved his hand. The onlookers all dispersed. In the end, only Mu Zheng was left. At this moment, a young man in a white robe stepped in the air and appeared beside Mu Zheng. If Lu Ming was here, he would definitely recognize this young man. This young man was Mu Xiuyuan, the one who had warned Lu Ming when he had just joined the Emperor God Palace. Sixth uncle. Mu Xiuyuan bowed beside Mu Zheng. Mu Zheng looked at the east sky courtyard and frowned. After a while, he sighed, "There's a limit to how much we can help that girl. The rest is up to them." Sixth uncle, you don't have to worry too much. I think that Lu Ming's talent is extremely terrifying. In a few years, he might be able to fight against the Xing clan. Mu Xiuyuan said. I'm afraid that he won't be able to wait for a few years. Mu Zheng sighed. Mu Xiuyuan remained silent. Forget it. Let's leave it to their luck. Let's go. Mu Zheng sighed and left with Mu Xiuyuan. Lu Ming walked into the east sky courtyard and sat down cross-legged. He took out the elixir that Mu Zheng had given him and swallowed it. Once the elixir entered his mouth, it turned into a crystal-clear liquid and slid down his throat. Then, it turned into a warm energy that spread throughout Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's injured body rapidly recovered. His cracked bones were also healing rapidly. What a mysterious healing elixir. This healing elixir is probably an upper-grade LV5 elixir. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Then, he circulated the true dragon battle art and combined it with the elixir's medicinal power to heal his injured body. Lu Ming's injuries were recovering rapidly. A day later, Lu Ming's injuries were completely healed. Lu Ming took a bath in the small stream in the courtyard. He washed off the blood scabs on his body, revealing his bronze skin. Then, Lu Ming changed into a black robe and looked energetic. Why did the Xing clan do this? Why did they suddenly find trouble with me and want to bring me to the central region? Is it because I beat up Xing Wushuang? Lu Ming sat cross-legged and thought to himself. This matter was a little strange. If it was because of a grudge with Xing Wushuang, the Xing clan wouldn't have made such a big fuss. Even a Peak King was involved. How was that possible? Lu Ming was a little confused about this matter. Forget it. If I can't figure it out, I won't think about it. Now, I'll continue to refine the spiritual crystals and increase my cultivation. Lu Ming took out another 10,000 supreme-grade spiritual crystals and exploded them. He began to devour the spiritual qi within the crystals to increase his cultivation. Soon, he finished devouring the 10,000 supreme-grade spiritual crystals. He took out another 10,000 and continued to devour them. Chapter 502. In addition to the 10,000 supreme spiritual crystals he had wasted due to Xing Kong's interruption, Lu Ming had spent a total of 70,000 supreme spiritual crystals to raise his cultivation from the mid-first layer Martial King realm to the peak first layer Martial King realm. Lu Ming was left with 80,000 supreme-grade spirit crystals. Now, let's break through to the second layer Martial King realm. With a wave of his hand, another dense pile of spiritual crystals appeared in the air. This time, Lu Ming took out 20,000 supreme-grade spirit crystals at one go. Bang! Bang! The supreme spiritual crystals exploded one after another like fireworks. Rich qi filled the air and was absorbed by the 9 dragons' bloodline. The vast energy turned into rolling true yuan as Lu Ming began to break through to the second layer Martial King realm. Soon, all 20,000 supreme spiritual crystals were refined. Lu Ming took out another 20,000 supreme spiritual crystals. Almost there, almost there. Just one more step and I'll be able to break through to the second layer Martial King realm. This time, Lu Ming waved his hands and took out 30,000 pieces of supreme-grade spirit crystals. 30,000 supreme spiritual crystals were extremely powerful as he began to break through to the second layer Martial King realm. Half a day later, boom! With a loud explosion, Lu Ming's aura skyrocketed. He had broken through to the second layer Martial King realm. Such powerful true yuan. It's 3 times more powerful than the first layer Martial King realm. Lu Ming pondered as he felt the powerful true yuan in his body. No wonder there was a huge gap between each layer of the Martial King realm. Now, I only have 10,000 supreme-grade spiritual crystals left. This is really a big expense. Lu Ming exclaimed. Of course, this was only for him. Other people would not need so many supreme spiritual crystals. Furthermore, Lu Ming's Thunder Will had already reached the first layer lesser success, which was why he could break through to the next level without any worries. Normally, people would have to work hard to comprehend the will of heaven and earth. As the will of heaven and earth improved, their cultivation would also improve. However, Lu Ming's will of heaven and earth improved so much. If only I had enough supreme spiritual crystals. My cultivation could reach the fourth layer Martial King realm and become a lesser success Martial King realm. Lu Ming thought to himself. However, he immediately shook his head. Leveling up to LV1 Martial King realm required so many supreme spiritual crystals. Leveling up to LV2 Martial King realm and LV3 Martial King realm would require a terrifying amount of supreme spiritual crystals. Looks like I'll have to think of a way to get more resources. And that Dandan, ever since it ate the heavenly tribulation last time, it hasn't done anything. I wonder how it's doing. Lu Ming picked up the Dandan hanging in his hair and looked at it carefully. If it wasn't for the layer of sparkling luster on the eggshell and the life force that was seeping out of the stone egg, Lu Ming was really afraid that something had happened to the Dandan. After all, it had eaten a heavenly tribulation. Right at this moment, Lu Ming's expression changed. With a wave of his hand, a jade box appeared on the ground. Inside the jade box, there were 2 pieces of pitch-black withered branches. There was also half a box of spring water. There was originally a whole box of spring water, but now, there was only half a box left. Among the 2 pieces of pitch-black withered branches soaked in the spring water, one of them had a bud growing on one end. Yes, one of the pieces of withered branches had come alive and grown a bud. The bud was shining with a little luster, making it look crystal clear. However, what surprised Lu Ming the most was that the bud was emitting a mysterious aura. Under this aura, Lu Ming's mind was extraordinarily clear, as if he had abandoned everything and was immersed in the Tao of heaven and earth. In the past, he was able to figure out some of the things that he didn't understand about martial arts very quickly. Comprehending Tao. In this state, Lu Ming seemed to be comprehending Tao. Amazing, too amazing. What's the origin of this withered branch? It's only a bud, but it can help me comprehend Tao. Lu Ming was astonished. Now, let's comprehend the Tao of heaven and earth. Immediately, Lu Ming closed his eyes and began to comprehend the Tao of wind. Immediately, Lu Ming felt that his perception of the Tao of wind was very clear. The speed of his comprehension was at least 10 times faster than before. Heavens, this is too amazing. Lu Ming's eyes stared at the bud. At this time, Lu Ming saw that on the bud, there was a mysterious pattern. It looked like a real dragon, a phoenix, a qilin and other ancient divine beasts. It was incomparably mysterious. According to the legends, in the ancient times, there was a kind of spiritual root of heaven and earth called the Tao comprehending spiritual root. This kind of spiritual root grew into spiritual trees of different shapes. This kind of spiritual tree was called the Tao comprehending ancient tree. According to the legends, in the ancient times, the most powerful people in the world would plant a Tao comprehending ancient tree beside them to help with their cultivation. Could it be that this withered branch fell from one of the Tao comprehending ancient trees? Lu Ming suddenly thought of a legend. Thinking of this legend, Lu Ming's heart burned with passion. It can't be true, right? If it's true, then I'm going to be rich. Lu Ming found it hard to believe. After all, there were too few Tao comprehending ancient trees. In the ancient times, only the most powerful people in the world could control one. Those powerful people were unbelievably strong. Today's martial emperors were like ants in front of those powerful people. Secret, it must be a secret. No matter if it's true or not, I can't let anyone know. Otherwise, I'll be dead. Lu Ming knew that if this branch was really the Tao comprehending ancient tree, the whole divine region would be in an uproar. Those martial emperors would definitely seize the Tao comprehending ancient tree at all costs. Right now, he had only grown one bud and his comprehension speed had increased by 10 times. What would happen if he grew 2, 3, or even more? How much help would it be to Lu Ming? Immediately, Lu Ming put the jade box into the Temple of Paragon and entered the Temple of Paragon. No matter if it's the real Tao comprehending ancient tree, it can increase one's comprehension speed by 10 times. This alone is invaluable. I'm going to be rich. Lu Ming was overjoyed. Then, Lu Ming began to comprehend various martial techniques. Indeed, under the cover of the mysterious aura of the bud, Lu Ming's mind was very clear. Whether it was comprehending martial techniques or the essence of heaven and earth, his comprehension speed was increased by 10 times. Cultivate, let's start cultivating. Lu Ming put the jade box beside him and began to comprehend the essence of wind. He planned to condense the essence of wind into an essence rune. In terms of attack, he had the thunder essence for now. As long as he could condense the essence of wind into an essence rune, his speed would increase greatly. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed. Lu Ming's comprehension of the essence of wind increased rapidly. It was equivalent to the result of 1 month's comprehension in the past. However, Lu Ming still felt that it was too slow. If I use the Tao comprehending ancient tree in the Tao comprehending palace, won't my comprehension speed be even faster? Lu Ming couldn't help but think. Regardless of whether it was the real Tao comprehending ancient tree, Lu Ming called it the Tao comprehending ancient tree. It felt good to call it that. Chapter 503. The Tao Enlightenment Palace cost 100 supreme-grade spirit crystals a day. Lu Ming booked it for 2 months and spent 6,000 supreme-grade spirit crystals. After entering Tao Enlightenment Palace, the Tao of heaven and earth floated. Finally, the 3 essences of wind, fire, and thunder appeared. Lu Ming took out the Enlightenment ancient tree and placed it in front of him. Then, he threw away the fire and thunder essences and focused on comprehending the wind essence. After a while, Lu Ming opened his eyes and joy flashed in his eyes. Sure enough, the Enlightenment ancient tree could be combined with the essences here. It made Lu Ming's comprehension speed faster. It was at least 30 times faster than before. 30 times. That was to say, Lu Ming comprehended it for 1 day, which was equivalent to 1 month in the past. 1 day was equivalent to 1 month. How amazing was that? Immediately, Lu Ming raced against time to comprehend it. Time passed day by day. Lu Ming's comprehension of the wind essence increased rapidly. 1 month later, it was equivalent to 2.5 years of Lu Ming's previous cultivation time. After 2.5 years of comprehending the wind essence, he finally comprehended the wind essence to the point where he could condense essence runes. Start, condense the essence runes. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Buzz! The wind essence spread out and then completely converged. It began to condense in Lu Ming's mind. 2 hours later, an inch-long cyan rune was condensed successfully. This time, there were no heavenly tribulations. It was calm. Just like that, Lu Ming successfully condensed the second essence rune. So cool. It's so cool to comprehend here. If I have enough top-grade spirit crystals, I can cultivate in seclusion here for a few years. Then, I'll be able to comprehend a concept to the completion of the first level. Lu Ming sighed secretly. However, it's still too slow. I don't have much time left. It's been 1.5 years, almost 2 years. Even at this speed, I won't be able to fight against Martial Emperor De when the 10 years are up. It still needs to be faster. The more leaves the Tree of Enlightenment grows, the stronger its ability to help people comprehend the Tao. It seems that in the future, I have to find more treasures like spiritual liquid that can cultivate spiritual herbs to speed up the growth of the Tree of Enlightenment. Lu Ming's mind was filled with various thoughts. Shaking his head, Lu Ming temporarily suppressed these thoughts and continued to comprehend. This time, he began to comprehend the Fire Essence Rune. In the blink of an eye, more than 20 days Fire Spiritual Essence Rune, and Spiritual Fire Essence Rune. On this day, the surrounding space started trembling slightly. You want to teleport me out? What's going on? There's still a few more days. Runes rune. Lu Ming waved his hand and put away the martial Dao ancient tree, full of doubts. Wang! After a dozen breaths, the space trembled and Lu Ming's figure disappeared. In the next moment, he appeared outside the Dao Comprehension Palace. Lu Ming, the envoy of the Heavenly Profound Branch Palace, is here. He has something important to discuss with you, so we can only let you come out early. You still have 6 days. I'll return these 600 spiritual crystals to you. One of the guardian elders of the Dao Comprehension Palace waved his hand and the 600 spiritual crystals flew towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming stretched out his hand to catch them, but his heart was filled with doubts. The envoy of the Heavenly Profound Branch Palace? Lu Ming frowned. The Heavenly Profound Branch Palace was the headquarters of the Heavenly Divine Palace in the Tianxian region. It was said that in the beginning, a large region only had one Heavenly Divine Palace branch palace. For example, in the Tianxian region, there was only one Heavenly Divine Palace branch palace in the center of the Tianxian region, the most prosperous place. Later, because a large region was too vast, they set up some smaller Heavenly Divine Palaces in various places. In the Tianxian region, there was a small Heavenly Divine Palace branch palace in the east, south, west, and north. However, the real core was still in the Heavenly Profound Branch Palace. The 4 Heavenly Profound Branch Palaces had to listen to the orders of the Heavenly Profound Branch Palace. Now, the Heavenly Profound Branch Palace had sent an envoy to find him? Could it be the Xing family? Lu Ming's heart stirred. He thought of the Xing family. This was the only possibility. Is the Xing family finally going to make a move? I would like to see what kind of methods you will use. A sharp light flashed across Lu Ming's eyes. Swoosh! At this moment, a figure rushed over from afar and appeared in front of Lu Ming. Lu Ming, you have finally come out of seclusion. Go to the mission hall now. There is a mission for you. The person who came was a middle-aged deacon of the mission hall. He spoke at this moment. Senior, I wonder what kind of mission it is for me to come out of seclusion in such a hurry. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said. Sigh. Lu Ming, I will not hide it from you. A few months ago, the Heavenly Corpse sect invaded the Tianxian region. In the central region of the Tianxian region, they had many battles with the Heavenly Profound Branch Palace and suffered heavy losses. This time, the Heavenly Profound Branch Palace issued an order to the other 4 branches to transfer a portion of the Emperor Sky Divine Guards to the central region. This time, your name is on the list. The middle-aged deacon had a good impression of Lu Ming and explained to Lu Ming in detail. My name is on the list? Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Logically speaking, the Heavenly Profound Branch Palace only needed to give the Eastern Branch Palace a specific number of experts for the Eastern Branch Palace to arrange. Why would they specify his name? This was obviously intentional. Lu Ming was certain that this was the doing of the Xing family. Then, the 2 of them headed to the mission hall. Lu Ming. In front of the mission hall, Lu Ming saw the Hall Master of Wind. Hall Master. The middle-aged deacon bowed to the Hall Master of Wind. The Hall Master of Wind nodded and said, You can go in first. I have something to say to Lu Ming. Yes. The middle-aged deacon bowed and walked into the mission hall. Lu Ming, I'm sure you have a rough idea of what happened. The Hall Master of Wind said. I have a rough idea. Lu Ming nodded and said. This time, you must be careful. The Heavenly Profound Branch Palace wants you to go with them. This is definitely the doing of the Xing family. Moreover, the Xing family wants to support the Heavenly Profound Branch Palace and eliminate the Heavenly Corpse sect. Even the Palace Master can't reject this. In the central region, the Xing family is extremely powerful. They just want you to go to the central region. At that time, they can do whatever they want to you. The Hall Master of Wind said with a solemn expression. They won't ask a few seniors to kill me, right? Lu Ming asked. Of course not. Although the Xing family is powerful, they still have scruples. However, the younger generation doesn't have such scruples. Moreover, it's impossible to guard against any schemes. The Hall Master of Wind said. Lu Ming nodded. The seniors wouldn't make a move openly. It was much easier to deal with the younger generation. Then, Lu Ming thanked the Hall Master of Wind. The Hall Master of Wind reminded Lu Ming to be careful and keep a low profile when he went to the central region. Chapter 504. The middle-aged deacon led Lu Ming to complete the mission procedures. Lu Ming, come to the mission hall tomorrow morning and meet up with the others. You will form the first batch of reinforcements and head to the mysterious Sky Branch Palace. There will be several batches of reinforcements heading to the mysterious Sky Branch Palace. The middle-aged deacon said. All right. Lu Ming nodded and left the mission hall, returning to the East Sky courtyard. Sitting cross-legged in the courtyard, Lu Ming's thoughts were flying. The Tianxian Branch Palace, the Xing family. Senior Sister Mulan should also be in the Tianxian Branch Palace. Alright, the Tianxian Branch Palace. Even if it is a dragon's lair or a tiger's den, Lu Ming have to barge in. Immediately, Lu Ming continued to comprehend the fire concept. After this period of comprehension, the fire concept had almost reached the level of condensing concept runes. As long as the fire concept condensed concept runes, then the wind, fire, and thunder concepts would all condense concept runes. Lu Ming's battle strength would undoubtedly increase greatly. Moreover, he could cultivate the fourth level of the three ultimates of the dragon god. Beside a small lake, Mu Zheng stood with his hands behind his back. Mu Xiuyuan stood beside him. Sixth uncle, the Xing family is really fast. They actually used this method to recruit Lu Ming to the mysterious Sky Branch Palace. What should we do now? Mu Xiuyuan said. The Xing family's method is really brilliant. Even I can't refuse. Lu Ming going to the mysterious Sky Branch Palace is no doubt trespassing into a tiger's den. Mu Zheng sighed. How about this, Xiuyuan, you immediately head to the mysterious Sky Branch Palace and wait for an opportunity to take care of Lu Ming. Mu Zheng continued. Alright, I will leave immediately. Mu Xiuyuan nodded and his figure flashed, disappearing without a trace. In the Thunder Hall, the Thunder Hall Master laughed wildly, extremely carefree. Ha, Lu Ming, when you reach the mysterious Sky Branch Palace, you still won't die. I will wait here for your good news. A day passed in the blink of an eye. The next morning, Lu Ming came to the mission hall. Some people had already gathered in the mission hall. Lu Ming swept his gaze over them. Among these people, there were men and women, old and young. However, they were all martial king realm cultivators. Among them, there were a few whose auras were terrifyingly powerful and unfathomable. Small Success King. Those people were definitely kings at the small success stage. The number of people was still increasing. 10 minutes later, including Lu Ming, there were exactly 50 people in the mission hall. At this moment, an old man walked into the mission hall. Palace Master. Greetings, Palace Master. Everyone bowed respectfully. This old man was Palace Master Mu Zheng of the Eastern Palace of the Tianxian region. Mu Zheng revealed a gentle smile as he swept his gaze across the crowd. His gaze lingered on Lu Ming for a moment before he said, "All right, now that the first batch of 50 people to head to the Tianxian Branch Palace has arrived, you can set off immediately. Remember, you must try your best to ensure your own safety in the process of killing the enemy. This old man will wait here for your return." Thank you, Asgard Master. We will definitely do our best to protect ourselves, and then kill as many enemies as we can to display the might of our eastern profound sky continent. Everyone replied. Alright, let's go then. Mu Zheng waved his hand. Immediately after, Lu Ming and the rest bade farewell to Mu Zheng and set off for the Tianxian Branch Palace. The Tianxian Branch Palace was located in the central region of the Tianxian region. Its territory was boundless, and it was 10 times larger than the eastern region of the Tianxian region. The spiritual chi of heaven and earth was extremely dense. There were many geniuses, and experts were as common as clouds. That place was the core of the Tianxian region. There was no doubt that the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace was the overlord there, and they controlled everything. There were also some small factions that relied on the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. Within the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, there were two great clans that controlled everything. One was the Sheng clan. The Sheng clan had a long history, and they had already existed before the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace. They were fully deserving of being the overlord of the Tianxian region. The other patriarch was the Mu clan. The current palace master of the Tianxian branch palace was the Mu clan's patriarch. The Mu clan could be said to be a rising clan in the Tianxian region. They had only risen for less than 100 years, but they were extremely powerful. The two great clans stood at the peak of the Tianxian region. The eastern region of the Tianxian region was extremely far from the Tianxian branch palace. Even if everyone was a martial king, it would still take them a month to reach the Tianxian branch palace. Everyone moved as fast as lightning towards the Tianxian branch palace. Among them, there were some who were smarter, and they guessed that the reason why Lu Ming was summoned to the Tianxian branch palace was most likely related to the Sheng clan. Hence, they stayed far away from Lu Ming. Lu Ming was too lazy to care about them, and he continued on his journey. Every 3 days, everyone would stop to rest and recover their true yuan. Soon, half a month had passed. Everyone had already left the eastern region of the Tianxian region and entered the central region. However, there was still a long way to go before they could reach the Tianxian branch palace. On this night, everyone stopped in a valley. Someone lit a bonfire, caught a demonic beast, and roasted it. Lu Ming was alone at the side, and he also lit a bonfire. Then, he rushed into a mountain and returned with a sturdy horned sheep. After cleaning the sheep, he started to roast it. Soon, a fragrant aroma filled the air. The horned sheep became glossy and shiny. Lu Ming took out a jar of wine and ate and drank alone. "Ha, good wine, really good wine. Brother Lu, can you let me, old Zhuang, have a taste of the meat and wine as well?" A tall and sturdy man with strong arms walked to the bonfire and grinned. "Of course, please." Lu Ming smiled. This man was called Zhuang Hong, and he was extremely powerful. He was one of the 3 kings in Lu Ming's group that had reached the king realm. However, he was honest and sincere, and didn't have many thoughts. Along the way, he was the only one who would occasionally talk to Lu Ming. Zhuang Hong grinned, sat down, and tore off a leg of the horned sheep without any hesitation, and started to eat it. So fragrant, so fragrant. The meat is fat but not greasy. Out of all the meat roasted by so many people, I still like Brother Lu's the most. Zhuang Hong's mouth was filled with oil as he praised loudly. Lu Ming smiled, and with a wave of his hand, a jar of wine appeared, and he threw it to Zhuang Hong. Zhuang Hong caught it, opened the lid, and took a big gulp. He praised, "Good wine, really good wine. Please." Lu Ming smiled and started to eat as well. "Brother Lu, in fact old Zhuang, really admire you. Even in the face of the Saint family, you can still hold your head high. You can say whatever you want and scold whatever you want. This is what a true martial artist is like. I, old Zhuang, admire you. Come, let me toast you." Zhuang Hong yelled as he ate. Lu Ming clinked glasses with Zhuang Hong and took a big gulp of the wine. "Brother Lu, I have faith in you. With your talent, I'm sure you'll be able to beat those arrogant geniuses of the Sheng family in the future." Zhuang Hong yelled again. At this moment, Lu Ming frowned, and his face changed slightly. "There's a smell of blood," Lu Ming whispered. Zhuang Hong was dazed and said doubtfully, "Brother Lu, we killed so many demonic beasts just now. Of course there's a smell of blood. It's not the blood of demonic beasts, it's the blood of humans," Lu Ming said with a frown. The 9 dragons' bloodline had devoured a large amount of blood essence of humans and demonic beasts. Therefore, Lu Ming could easily distinguish the difference between the smell of blood of humans and demonic beasts. Ah! Chapter 505. Everyone's expression changed. That's Suocho's voice. He went to hunt demonic beasts. What happened? What danger did he encounter? Someone yelled. Ah! At this moment, another scream was heard. It's Zhao Er. He is also hunting demonic beasts. Someone exclaimed. Let's go and take a look. Someone yelled. Then, 7 or 8 voices flew in that direction. They stood high in the sky and looked down. However, it was night after all. Their vision was obstructed and they could not see clearly. Then, they flew down. The next moment, screams were heard. In just a few breaths, there were no more sounds. 7 or 8 experts of the Martial King realm had suddenly disappeared. There are enemies. Gather together. Quick, don't be defeated one by one. A few shouts were heard. It was the other 2 martial kings. Lu Ming and Zhuang Hong also gathered together. 40 or so people gathered together. What on earth is there? 8 martial kings were taken care of so quickly. Someone said solemnly. Rustle, rustle. At this moment, everyone heard a rustling sound. It was particularly eerie in the forest at night. What's that? Everyone focused their attention, opened their eyes wide, and looked around. Oh no, it's under our feet. Lu Ming suddenly yelled. What? The others were stunned. Bang! Suddenly, under the feet of one of the Di Tian Divine Guards, a pitch-black beast claw stretched out and grabbed one of the Di Tian Divine Guard's feet. What's that? The Di Tian Divine Guard yelled in horror. He was a mid-stage Martial King realm expert. At this moment, he exerted all his strength and slashed at the beast claw with his saber. However, an astonishing scene happened. When the saber slashed at the beast claw, it was as if it had slashed at some kind of hard steel. The sound of metal clashing could be heard. It could not be cut. Roar! A beast roar came from underground. The beast claw tore off one of the Di Tian Divine Guard's legs. The Di Tian Divine Guard screamed and fell to the ground. The next moment, another beast claw reached out and grabbed at the young man's head. The Di Tian Divine Guard's scream came to an abrupt end. All this happened in the blink of an eye. When everyone reacted, the Di Tian Divine Guard was already dead. What demonic beast is that? Die! At the side, a few Di Tian Divine Guards roared as they launched violent attacks at the demonic beast. Boom! After a few booms, a large crater was blasted into the ground, but there was no trace of the demonic beast. Ah! Suddenly, another scream came from another direction. A first-layer Martial King Realm Empyrean Divine Guard was clawed to death by a beast claw that reached out from the ground. What kind of demonic beast is this? Why can't I sense any aura? Someone shouted in shock. Corpse. That's the corpse of a demonic beast. There's no sign of life. Finally, someone discovered the truth. Demonic beast corpse. Everyone was shocked. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Suddenly, a sharp sound of something breaking through the air rang out. Black shadows shot towards them from all directions. It was faster than an arrow. Be careful. A loud roar resounded, and everyone burst out with powerful Jinyuan. Their bodies were suffused with all kinds of lights, and one light after another burst out. Boom! Boom! With a loud explosion, those black shadows were sent flying back. That is... Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. He could clearly see that those black shadows were actually black chains. They are from the Heavenly Corpse sect. Lu Ming shouted. What? The Heavenly Corpse sect? How did the Heavenly Corpse sect know that we are here? Someone yelled in disbelief. Although their departure was not a secret, the route they took first was very secretive. Not many people knew about it. How did the Heavenly Corpse sect find them? Was it a coincidence? I didn't expect the people from the eastern part of the Tianxian domain to recognize us so quickly. How unexpected. A cold voice came from the forest in the distance. Whoosh! Whoosh! Then, the crowd saw coffins flying out from the surrounding forest. These coffins were of different sizes and they floated in the air, blocking their escape route. There were at least 100 of them. Crack, these coffins opened, and figures walked out one after another. Refined corpses. The first to walk out were all refined corpses. Their faces were pale, and there was a hint of black in their paleness. Their bodies were wrapped with black chains. Apart from these human-shaped refined corpses, there were also beast-shaped ones. Roar! A few demonic beasts that looked like black panthers with red eyes and fangs in their mouths roared. However, there was no sign of life on them. They were all refined corpses. Other than human corpses, demonic beast corpses could also be refined into refined corpses. The refined corpses of demonic beasts were called demonic corpses. Obviously, the ones that were hiding underground and launching a sneak attack were these demonic corpses. Following closely behind these refined corpses were pale-faced zombie guards in black robes. There were more than 200 refined corpses, and close to 100 corpse guards. It is not a waste that we have been lying in ambush here for a few days. With 50 martial king corpses, we can refine 50 powerful refined corpses. One of the corpse guards sneered. How is this possible? How did you know that we would pass by here? How did you ambush us in advance? One of the divine guards shouted in disbelief. Since you are about to die, there is no harm in telling you. Of course, someone informed us. One of the corpse guards sneered. What? Everyone was shocked. There was a traitor. A traitor leaked their information to the Heavenly Corpse sect. Damn it, who is it? Someone roared. Could it be the Xing clan? Lu Ming's mind raced. His first suspicion was the Xing clan. They knew that he was in this group and wanted to use the Heavenly Corpse sect to get rid of him. However, was it necessary to sacrifice the lives of the other 49 divine guards? This was too ruthless. Go to hell. Close to 100 corpse guards began to control the refined corpses. More than 200 refined corpses were surging with corpse chi and emitting a powerful aura. King level, these refined corpses were all king level corpses. 9 of them had extremely powerful auras. They were all at the king level. Everyone's expression changed drastically. This was a terrifying force. 9 king level refined corpses, about 200 refined corpses from the first to the third layer of the martial king realm, and close to 100 corpse guards. This force was several times stronger than Lu Ming's. In order to deal with them, the Heavenly Corpse sect had sent out so many experts. This was a sure kill. Lu Ming and the others didn't even have a chance to escape. With such a great disparity in strength, it was impossible to escape. Lu Ming's expression became extremely solemn. Go, team up and charge in the same direction. Zhuang Hong roared and rushed to the west first. Go, go! The other 2 king-level corpses cooperated with Zhuang Hong and rushed in that direction. Chapter 506. Trying to break out? Dream on. Kill them all. A zombie guard with a powerful aura yelled. This zombie guard's cultivation was already at the early stage of the king realm. Whoosh! Whoosh! The sky was filled with chains. They were like black poisonous snakes that filled the void. The black chains either stabbed at the group like spears or wrapped around them like ropes. Dang! 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 Everyone's attacks were bounced back when they hit the chains. Only the attacks of the 3 early-stage kings managed to break through dozens of chains. However, whoosh! Whoosh! The 9 early-stage kings roared and waved their arms. A few chains flew out of each of their bodies and swept toward the three early-stage kings. With a loud explosion, the three early-stage kings were also knocked back, unable to break through. Damn it! What do we do? Some people panicked and couldn't break out at all. Kill! The zombie guard yelled. The refined corpses roared and the chains swept across the sky. Someone screamed as the chains pierced through his body and killed him. In a few breaths, another 4 or 5 people were killed. Keep going! Zhuanghong yelled and charged forward with all his might. However, the 3 of them were completely blocked by the 9 early-stage kings. It was impossible for them to break out. At this moment, everyone was in a tough battle and people were constantly being killed. What do we do? Lu Ming frowned and waved the spear in his hand to block the chains coming from all directions. The difference between the 3rd and 4th level of the Martial King realm was the dividing line between the low-level Martial King realm and the low-level Martial King realm. Therefore, the difference between the 3rd and 4th level of the Martial King realm was not simply a difference of 1 level, but 2. Therefore, although Lu Ming's cultivation had reached the 2nd stage Martial King realm, he was definitely not a match for the 4th stage kings. Zhuanghong and the other 2 early stage kings were all at the 4th stage Martial King realm. If they couldn't break through, Lu Ming would also have a hard time. Ah! Screams were heard as another person was killed and his body was dragged out by the chains. At this moment, there were less than 30 of them left. Zhuanghong and the other 2 early stage kings were also in a tough battle. They were no match for a few refined corpses of the same cultivation realm who were completely impervious to swords and spears. It had only been a short while, but there were already several wounds on their bodies. Whoosh! Whoosh! The chains danced in the air as a small success king was entangled by one of the chains. Damn it, break for me! This small success king roared, wanting to cut this iron chain. However, after several consecutive strikes, sparks flew in all directions, and only a shallow gap appeared on the iron chain. Whoosh! An iron chain pierced through his chest. His speed was as fast as lightning. This Tian divine guard roared and desperately moved his body to the side. Poochie! The iron chain was like a long spear. It pierced through his shoulder and blood splattered everywhere. He, don't even think about resisting. Die and become my refined corpse. From the side came the sinister laughter of the zombie guard. Dream on, you bastards from the Heavenly Corpse sect. Don't even think about refining my corpse into a refined corpse. Hurry up and leave. I'll hold them off. This Tian divine guard's eyes were red as he roared at Zhuanghong and the others. At the same time, the aura on his body began to surge violently. Damn it, he wants to self-destruct. Stop him. One of the Tian divine guards screamed. Ha ha ha. That Tian divine guard laughed loudly. Charge, charge, charge this way. Zhuanghong and the others gritted their teeth and suddenly changed their direction, charging madly in the other direction. Boom! At this moment, an earth-shattering explosion rang out. Berserk energy surged out in all directions. That Tian divine guard had self-destructed. The self-destruction of a 4th stage Martial King realm king was unimaginably powerful. 9 small success king level refined corpses were sent flying. Some of the lower level refined corpses were directly blown into pieces. With a large number of refined corpses blocked, the pressure on Zhuanghong and the others was greatly reduced. Boom! Boom! Zhuanghong, another small success king, Lu Ming, and some other powerful Tian divine guards joined forces and blasted a huge gap in the refined corpses' encirclement. Charge! Whoosh! Whoosh! Immediately, they rushed madly toward the gap. Lu Ming followed closely behind Zhuanghong and rushed out of the gap. Damn it! Block it! Block it! A large group of corpse guards roared. Iron chains flew across the sky and blocked the gap in an instant. There were still more than 10 people who did not manage to rush out and were trapped inside. In the next moment, screams rang out continuously. However, Lu Ming and the others could not care less. There was still a barrier in front of them, and that was the corpse guards. You want to leave? Impossible. Die. The corpse guards attacked. Corpse chi surged. All kinds of palm winds, claw lights, and saber lights that contained corpse chi blasted toward Lu Ming and the others. As long as the corpse guards blocked them for a while, they would be in danger. The refined corpses would soon surround them. Boom! Boom! Zhuanghong and the other small success king were blocked. The other side was also two small success king level corpse guards. If the refined corpses were removed, the corpse guards would be weaker than martial artists of the same level. However, it would not be a problem for them to stall for a short period of time. Hee, die, you bastard! A zombie guard at LV3 Martial King Realm clawed at Lu Ming with its claws. You're the one who will die. Lu Ming's eyes were cold. He twisted his spine like a dragon and stabbed out with his spear. Extreme Dao Strike. After breaking through to the Martial King Realm, the power of the Extreme Dao Strike was extremely terrifying. Poochie. The corpse guard's head was pierced through by the spear, and he died. As soon as the corpse guard died, the refined corpses under his control stopped moving in the air. However, there were too many refined corpses. The stopping of a few refined corpses did not affect the overall situation. Whoosh! Lu Ming's figure flashed, and it looked like he was about to break out of the encirclement. Stop right there. A cold shout was heard. A saber light filled with corpse chi slashed toward Lu Ming's waist. Lu Ming raised his spear and blocked in front of him. Dang! A terrifying force surged toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's body trembled and he could not help but retreat. A pale-faced corpse guard holding a saber appeared in front of Lu Ming. Without a doubt, it was a small success king. Whoosh! Whoosh! At this moment, 9 small success king level refined corpses were crazily rushing toward him from behind. Iron chains flew through the air and rushed toward him. Dandan, smash it! At this moment, Lu Ming shouted. Buzz! Dandan, which had been hanging on the end of his hair, shook slightly and flew out with a whoosh, smashing toward the corpse guard's face. Dandan seemed to have been digesting the heavenly tribulation since it ate it last time. It was only a few days ago that it was almost fully digested and had a reaction again. Lu Ming stared at Dandan. He wondered how it would be after it finished digesting the heavenly tribulation. It's just a stone. Break it. The corpse guard sneered and slashed out a saber light, wanting to smash Dandan into pieces. However, Dandan completely ignored the saber light. It rushed past and smashed toward the corpse guard's face. Bang! Chapter 507. Dandan accurately smashed into the face of the Empyrean Divine Guard. Ah! This Tian Divine Guard screamed miserably and retreated frantically. Lu Ming saw that the other party's face had been smashed into a pulp. His facial features were completely deformed and he was smashed into a lump. Even his head had almost exploded. If it weren't for the vitality of a low-tier king, an ordinary person would have died from such an injury. Shwa! Shwa! At this moment, the 9 low-tier king corpses had already arrived. The iron chains flew through the air, and some of them were aimed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming, run! I'll block them. Zhuanghong appeared in front of the 9 corpses and roared. Old Zhuang, let's go together. Lu Ming shouted. Let's go together. No one can escape. Run! We've been betrayed this time. Someone must escape and find the mastermind to avenge us. Zhuanghong roared. Boom! Immediately, the true yuan on Zhuanghong's body violently surged. This move again. Damn it! Get out of the way and kill the others. Damn it! Get out of the way! The corpse guards all roared. Lu Ming, find the mastermind and avenge us. This was Zhuanghong's last sentence. As soon as he finished speaking, a loud explosion resounded. Zhuang Hong had self-detonated. The terrifying energy swept out in all directions, and the corpse guards all retreated. Whoosh! Amidst the violent energy waves, a storage ring flew toward Lu Ming. It was Zhuang Hong's storage ring. Obviously, even if Zhuang Hong died, he didn't want the Heavenly Corpse sect to benefit from it. Lu Ming reached out and grabbed Zhuang Hong's storage ring. Die! The Heavenly Corpse sect must die. And the mastermind must die as well. I, Lu Ming, swear that I will avenge you. Lu Ming roared in his heart, and an intense killing intent burst forth. Zhuang Hong, this straightforward man, had been drinking and eating meat with him not long ago. Now, he had died a miserable death, and not even his bones were left. Lu Ming's killing intent soared to the heavens. Dandan! Lu Ming shouted again. Dandan was slightly shaken, and once again rushed out, smashing towards the zombie guard whose face had already been smashed. Bang! This time, it was even worse. The zombie guard was almost smashed to death. Extreme Dao Strike. Lu Ming turned into a spear light and disappeared in a flash. The zombie guard didn't even have time to react before it was killed by Lu Ming. A small completion king had died just like that. With the death of this zombie guard, there were no more obstacles in front of Lu Ming. Lu Ming rushed over and devoured the man's blood essence. At the same time, he took the man's storage ring. Whoosh! Whoosh! At this moment, a few Empyrean divine guards also took the opportunity to rush out and run far away. Chase! Don't let any of them escape! A zombie guard roared. Nearly 100 zombie guards, along with the refined corpses, split into several groups and chased after the Empyrean divine guards. Death, brat! There were also some zombie guards hiding behind the refined corpses and charging towards Lu Ming. Heavenly Corpse sect, I'll remember this. Lu Ming said coldly, then turned around and stepped out. 9 Dragons Heaven Stomping Steps. Whoosh! After using the 9 Dragons Heaven Stomping Steps, Lu Ming's speed was too fast. No matter how the zombie guards chased, they couldn't catch up. Damn it! That brat escaped. A zombie guard shouted unwillingly. Let's chase after the others. We can't let more people escape. Then, these zombie guards chased in other directions. Lu Ming's 9 Dragons Heaven Stomping Steps was terrifyingly fast. Not long after, Lu Ming appeared 100,000 miles away. Whoosh! He rushed into a forest with an extremely cold gaze. This time, it was too miserable. Almost all of the 50 of them were wiped out. In the end, only a few of them managed to rush out. As for those few people, most of them were injured and might not be able to escape the Heavenly Corpse sect's pursuit. Lu Ming had Dandan to thank this time. Otherwise, he might not have been able to break out of the encirclement. Also, with the 9 Dragons Heaven Stomping Steps extreme speed, he was able to successfully shake off the Heavenly Corpse sect's pursuit. Heavenly Corpse sect, this debt will be settled sooner or later. There's also the mastermind behind this. Who is the one who betrayed us? Is it the Xing family? Lu Ming had many thoughts in his mind. At present, the Xing family seemed to be the biggest suspect. After a while, Lu Ming appeared in the Temple of Paragon with a thought. Then, he began to refine the essence blood. The zombie guard was a 4th-level martial king, a low-level martial king. Its essence blood was extremely rich. Lu Ming used all of it to improve the 9 Dragons bloodline. Unfortunately, after completely refining the essence blood, the 9 Dragons bloodline was still at the 6th level of the Martial King realm. It seems that it's too difficult to reach the 7th level of the Martial King realm. Lu Ming sighed. Until now, he had not seen anyone with a 7th level of the Martial King realm bloodline, except for Xian Yanqing. Regardless of whether one was a genius or a monster, the 6th level of the Martial King realm was the highest level. It seemed that there was a gap between the 6th and 7th level of the Martial King realm. Lu Ming pondered for a while. Then, with a move of his finger, a few storage rings appeared in his palm. 2 of them belonged to the zombie guards killed by Lu Ming, and 1 belonged to Zhuang Hong. Elder Zhuang, I wonder if you have any relatives. When I return to the Eastern Branch Palace in the future, I will definitely give your storage ring to your relatives. Lu Ming moved his hand and put away Zhuang Hong's storage ring. Then, he checked the storage rings of the 2 zombie guards. Of the 2 zombie guards, one was a 3rd-level Martial King, while the other was a 4th-level Martial King Realm low-level Martial King Realm. There were quite a lot of wealth in their storage rings. There were 5 or 6 secret manuals. One of them was about how to refine corpses. Lu Ming flipped through them casually and put them away. Lu Ming valued the top-grade spiritual crystals the most. There were a total of 180,000 of them in the 2 storage rings. This was not a small amount. As for the ultimacy crystals, there was not a single one. Lu Ming was slightly disappointed. After tidying up, Lu Ming waved his hand and 20,000 top-grade spiritual crystals floated in the air. Lu Ming wanted to continue improving his cultivation. His cultivation was still too weak. With Lu Ming's current strength, he could easily crush anyone in the Cloud Emperor mountain range. No one could survive a single attack from him. However, that was only the Cloud Emperor mountain range. It was not enough on a bigger stage, like the entire Tianxian domain. For example, if Lu Ming's cultivation was at the low-level Martial King realm, Zhuang Hong and the others would not have died, and they would not have been wiped out. Strength was the most important thing. Furthermore, the Tianxian domain was only a small domain within the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace's sphere of influence. The Emperor Heaven Divine Palace was only one of the 4 strongest forces in the Eastern Wilderness. The Divine Wilderness continent was divided into the Central Continent, Eastern Wilderness, Southern Underworld, Western Desert, and Northern Plains. The Eastern Wilderness was only one of the 5 vast regions in the Divine Wilderness continent. Lu Ming's current location could only be considered a small part of the Divine Wilderness continent. Bang! 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 Chapter 508. Lu Ming's cultivation started to increase rapidly. After reaching the 2nd layer Martial King realm, the amount of spiritual crystals needed to increase one's cultivation had increased significantly. When Lu Ming had refined 50,000 spiritual crystals, Lu Ming's cultivation had only increased from the early 2nd layer Martial King realm to the mid-2nd layer Martial King realm. 50,000 spiritual crystals. When he was at the 1st layer Martial King realm, he only needed 30,000 spiritual crystals to increase his cultivation level. When he reached the 2nd layer Martial King realm, it increased to 50,000 spiritual crystals. Lu Ming did not stop and continued to take out more spiritual crystals. Increase at a crazy rate. In less than a day, Lu Ming had refined all 180,000 spiritual crystals. Lu Ming's cultivation had also increased to the peak of the 2nd layer Martial King realm. If he wanted to reach the 3rd layer Martial King realm, he would need more resources. In the next moment, Lu Ming walked out of the Temple of Paragon and looked to the west. Tianxian Branch Palace, Sheng family, Lu Ming, am coming. Whoosh! With a flash of light, Lu Ming turned into a beam of light and rushed toward the Tianxian Branch Palace. Not long after, he passed by the place where he had been ambushed by the Heavenly Corpse sect. At this moment, there were no other traces of the ambush except for some blood on the ground. The corpses of the Heavenly Corpse sect must have been taken away by the Heavenly Corpse sect. Lu Ming paused for a moment before he turned into a beam of light and continued to head toward the Tianxian Branch Palace. Lu Ming's speed was much faster since he was traveling alone. The journey that would have taken him half a month was completed in 7 days by Lu Ming. An ancient city appeared in front of him. The city was completely black and there were marks of swords and sabers on it. It was filled with an ancient aura as if it had traveled through time and space from the ancient era. The area of this city was not large. Compared to the Myriad Star City, it was much smaller. However, the reputation of this city was many times greater than that of the Myriad Star City. This was because the city was called Tianxian City. This Tianxian City was the branch palace of the Heavenly Emperor Divine Palace in the Tianxian domain. Legend had it that Tianxian City had existed for countless years. It had been preserved from the primordial era, and had existed for over 1,000,000 years. This city had been built by human powerhouses in the ancient times. The entire city was built on a super-large spiritual eye and a Tao eye. Spiritual eye could provide an endless supply of heaven and earth spiritual qi. Therefore, the spiritual qi in Tianxian City was the densest in the Tianxian domain. The Tao eye contained the great Tao of heaven and earth. It was said that those who cultivated in Tianxian City would be able to comprehend force and intent faster than those who cultivated in other places. Growing up in Tianxian City, one could say that he was blessed by the heavens. Therefore, there were no ordinary people in Tianxian City. There were only people from the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace. If people outside the Emperor Heavenly Divine Palace wanted to enter, they would have to pay a huge price. Within 1,000 miles around Tianxian City, there were 8 huge satellite cities. They surrounded Tianxian City like stars surrounding the moon, continuously providing resources to Tianxian City. Lu Ming watched for a while before flying towards Tianxian City. When Lu Ming was within 10 miles of Tianxian City, he suddenly felt a strong pressure pressing down on his body. Lu Ming could not help but land on the ground. Indeed, there is an inscription array in Tianxian City that restricts people from flying. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He was already clear about this point. The entire Tianxian City had been inscribed with a powerful inscription array by ancient powerhouses. It was impenetrable and hard for outsiders to break through. At the same time, there was a flight restriction array. Not to mention a martial ancestor, even a martial king would find it hard to fly. Lu Ming had heard that if one wanted to fly in Tianxian City, one would have to be at least a peak king. Lu Ming walked towards Tianxian City on foot. The gates of Tianxian City were open, and there were people coming in and out occasionally. There was a group of soldiers guarding the entrance. Every soldier was emitting a powerful aura. So strong. There are 15 of them, and 5 of them are low-tier kings. The other 10 are all third-layer martial kings. When Lu Ming saw the group of soldiers at the gates, his heart skipped a beat. He was extremely shocked. This was just a group of soldiers guarding the gates, and yet they were already so terrifying. He wondered how many powerhouses were in Tianxian City. Without a doubt, there were as many powerhouses as there were clouds. 80% of the powerhouses of the Tianxian region's Emperor Heaven Divine Palace were here. Lu Ming walked towards the gates with large strides. Stop right there. Who are you? Only disciples of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace can enter this place. If you are not a member of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, leave as soon as possible. Otherwise, you will be killed without mercy. A soldier in metal armor stared at Lu Ming. His eyes were like 2 sharp swords, stabbing into Lu Ming's body. I am Lu Ming, a divine guard of the Eastern Branch Palace. This is my divine guard token. Lu Ming took out his divine guard token and handed it to the soldier. Divine guard of the Eastern Branch Palace? The soldier in metal armor was a little puzzled. He took the token and scanned it with his mind. Then, his eyes calmed down. You are indeed a divine guard of the Eastern Branch Palace. Furthermore, you are the newest Eastern Sky Divine Guard. Could it be that you are sent from the East as reinforcements? Why are you the only one here? The soldier in metal armor returned the Divine Guard token to Lu Ming as he muttered doubtfully. Can I enter the city now? Lu Ming asked. Since you are a Divine Guard, you can enter the city. The soldier in metal armor revealed a smile. Just as Lu Ming was about to enter the city, a discordant voice rang out at this moment. Little bastard, it's you. You are not dead yet? A gloomy voice rang out. Lu Ming was stunned and looked towards the city gates. A few figures walked out from the city gates. One of them stared at Lu Ming with a gloomy face. Shen Kong. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. he did not expect to meet Xing Kong the moment he arrived. There were two other young men beside Xing Kong that Lu Ming had never seen before. Xing Kong, is he the brat from the east that you were talking about? A tall young man looked coldly at Lu Ming. That's right, it's him. Xing Kong's eyes flashed with killing intent as he looked at Lu Ming and said, Lu Ming, I didn't expect you to be so lucky. Xing Kong, what do you mean by that? Did you know that I would be in danger? Lu Ming's eyes flickered as he asked. Could it be that the Xing family had informed the Heavenly Corpse sect and betrayed them? Hee, what's so strange about that? We received the news 2 days ago that the first batch of reinforcements sent by the Eastern Sub-Palace had been ambushed by the Heavenly Corpse sect on the way. They were completely annihilated, and none of them managed to escape. You were among the first batch of reinforcements, right? Xing Kong sneered. That's right. Lu Ming said. Lu Ming, how dare you betray the Heavenly Divine Palace and secretly contact the Heavenly Corpse sect? Dozens of Heavenly Divine Guards from the Heavenly Divine Palace were killed. You really deserve to die. Today, I will cripple you as a warning to others. Xing Kong suddenly shouted. Xing Kong, what nonsense are you talking about? Lu Ming said coldly with a calm expression. Nonsense? Lu Ming, how did the Heavenly Corpse sect know about your whereabouts? If someone did not collude with the Heavenly Corpse sect, how could this have happened? Moreover, the first batch of reinforcements was completely annihilated. There were even 3 kings in the group. But what is your cultivation base? Yet, you survived. If you are not a traitor, who else can you be? Chapter 509. Ha ha ha. At this moment, Lu Ming burst into laughter. Lu Ming, what are you laughing at? Xing Kong yelled. Xing Kong, I'm laughing at you. Is there something wrong with your head? Am I a traitor just because I'm alive? What kind of twisted logic is that? Will you only feel better after we've all died in battle? I'm suspecting that you're the traitor who colluded with the Heavenly Corpse sect to set us up. Lu Ming yelled. Nonsense. You're slandering me. Xing Kong yelled. At that moment, some people at the city gate were attracted by the two's voices and gathered around curiously. The guards clearly recognized the identities of Xing Kong and the others, but they didn't interfere. Slandering me? Humph, if I remember correctly, you returned to the central region after I beat you up in the Eastern Branch Palace. Not long after that, you sent a message to the Eastern region, asking me to come to the central region to provide support. Now, I suspect that all of this is a trap set up by your Saint clan. You leaked the news to the Heavenly Corpse sect with the purpose of killing me, right? Lu Ming bellowed. His aura was like a dragon, pressing hard on Xing Kong. You're slandering me. Xing Kong was stunned by Lu Ming's aura and was momentarily stunned. He was almost speechless. How dare you slander the Xing clan? You're courting death. Xing Kong, step aside and let me cripple him. The tall young man stepped forward. His eyes were like lightning as he looked at Lu Ming coldly. A powerful aura burst out from the tall young man's body. It was terrifying. Peak 3rd Layer Martial King Realm. The tall young man's cultivation had reached the Peak 3rd Layer Martial King Realm. Furthermore, he was no ordinary Peak 3rd Layer Martial King Realm cultivator. He was definitely a genius among the Martial Kings. Who's that kid? I've never seen him before. How dare he offend the Xing clan? I vaguely heard it just now. It seems to be coming from the Eastern Branch Palace. What? How dare someone from the Eastern Branch Palace offend the Xing clan? They're courting death. Based on what that kid said, it seems like Holy Kong suffered a loss at his hands in the Eastern Branch Palace. I don't think that kid is easy to deal with. Easy to deal with? So what if he defeated Xing Kong? Xing Kong is merely one of the many direct descendants of the Xing family. Xing Feng is much stronger than him. On the side, the onlookers were whispering to each other. Brat, are you going to kneel down and cripple yourself, or do you want me to do it? If I do it, you'll have to suffer. Xing Feng was tall, half a head taller than Lu Ming. His face was cold and arrogant as he looked down at Lu Ming. Lu Ming curled his lips. The members of the Xing family were probably used to being overlords in the Tianqian region. Every single one of them was the same. I advise you to scram. You probably don't know how badly Xing Kong was beaten up by me in the east. Be careful that you don't end up like him. Lu Ming glanced at Xing Feng and said. Arrogant. You're courting death. Xing Feng shouted. Bang! Xing Feng took a step forward like a giant beast, causing the earth to rumble. Then, he struck out with his palm. Kneel. The spiritual chi of the heavens and earth gathered and formed a palm print that slammed down on Lu Ming's head. Even a peak LV3 Martial King expert would not dare to take this attack head-on. Buzz! Lu Ming's hand flashed and a long spear appeared. Then, he pulled it out. Boom! The long spear struck the palm print, causing it to crumble instantly. You're the one who should kneel. Lu Ming stepped forward and the long spear in his hand became 10 meters long and as thick as a water tank. He then slammed it down on Xing Feng's head. Xing Feng's face changed. Apparently, he did not expect Lu Ming to destroy his palm print so easily. So, you're quite capable. However, this is not enough to defeat me. Boom! Xing Feng shouted coldly. A 10-meter-tall giant bear appeared above his head. The giant bear was covered in scales and emitted a fierce aura. At the same time, 6 silver chakras shone on the giant bear's body. In the next moment, the giant bear rushed into Xing Feng's body, causing his burly body to swell. Earth-shattering palm. Xing Feng jumped up and slammed his palm down on Lu Ming. True Dragon Strike. Lu Ming thrust his spear upward and a tricolor True Dragon flew out with an imposing aura. Now that Lu Ming's wind intent had formed a wind intent rune, the 3 skills of the dragon god had become even more powerful. Boom! The tricolor True Dragon broke through Xing Feng's attack and continued to slam into Xing Feng's body. Xing Feng screamed as his body was sent flying like a cannonball. He flew 100 meters into the air and then fell freely under the effect of the forbidden flight array. Catch me, hurry up and catch me! Xing Feng screamed in fright in the air. Xing Kong and another young man wanted to catch Xing Feng. However, Lu Ming used his long spear to block the 2 of them. Go away! The other young man yelled but did not dare to make a move. His cultivation was only at the early 3rd level of the Martial King realm, far weaker than Xing Feng. He was obviously no match for Lu Ming. As for Xing Kong, his face was pale and filled with disbelief. Lu Ming had become stronger again. He was definitely not this strong a few months ago when he was in the Eastern Branch Palace. Even Xing Feng, who was at the peak of the 3rd level of the Martial King realm, could not fight back against Lu Ming. How could this be? Bang! With this delay, sacred wind crashed into the ground. The ground at the entrance of the city was the same as the city walls of Tianqian City. They were both left behind from the ancient era and were extremely hard. They were a few hundred times harder than steel. Xing Feng's face hit the ground heavily and made a teeth-numbing sound. Blood splattered everywhere and the crowd could see 7 or 8 teeth in the blood. Ah, little bastard, I'm going to kill you. Xing Feng struggled to get up and yelled crazily. He was a genius at the peak of the 3rd level of the Martial King realm, but he was severely injured from the fall. It was a great humiliation. From today onward, no matter how brilliant his achievements were, it would be a stain on his record that he would never be able to get rid of. The anger in his heart was enough to set the 9 heavens ablaze. However, what greeted him was a long spear. Bang! A long spear struck one side of his face, and his body flew out. The other side of his face crashed heavily onto the ground. Blood splattered everywhere as teeth flew. Xing Feng was dumbfounded. The others were dumbfounded too. Lu Ming was ruthless. He attacked before Xing Feng could finish his sentence. This time, Xing Feng was lying on the ground, twitching continuously. He could not get up at all. Shen Kong and the other young man from the Shen clan were covered in cold sweat. Lu Ming reached out and sucked Xing Feng's storage ring into his hand, keeping it without any reservation. He was currently in need of resources. How could he miss out on such a great opportunity? You too, hand over 50,000 spiritual crystals each and I'll let you go. Hurry up, take the spiritual crystals. Chapter 5:10. When his voice rang out, the surrounding onlookers were stunned. They looked at Lu Ming in astonishment. Where did this guy come from? How audacious! Not only did he severely injure Xing Feng and snatch his storage ring, but he also wanted Xing Kong and Xing Feng to hand over 50,000 spiritual crystals each. This was a blatant robbery. The crowd was in a mess. Xing Kong and Xing Kong were even more astonished. They stared at Lu Ming in disbelief. What did you say? What did you say? The other young man from the Xing family suspected that he had heard wrongly. How dare someone do this to them in Tianxian City? Even the elites of the Mu family would not dare to do so. I don't want to repeat myself. Within 3 breaths, hand over 50,000 spiritual crystals each. 1. Lu Ming started counting. You. Don't go overboard. This is Tianxian City, not the East Branch Palace. You are courting death. Xing Kong yelled crazily. 2. Lu Ming did not stop and started counting to 2. Damn it. Damn it. Hurry up and take this guy down. Xing Kong roared at the armored soldiers. However, the armored soldiers were indifferent. They were under the jurisdiction of the Tianxian Branch Palace and were only responsible for guarding the city gate. As for the personal grudges of the other Emperor's Sky Divine Guards, they would not interfere. 3. At this moment, Lu Ming's cold voice rang out. Retreat! Xing Kong and the other young man from the Xing family retreated as fast as lightning. However, even though they were fast, Lu Ming was faster. Whoosh! Lu Ming pulled out the long spear in his hand. Bam! Bam! The shaft of the long spear hit Xing Kong and the other young man in the face. The two of them screamed and flew far away. Now, it's not about the 50,000 spiritual crystals. Lu Ming strode toward Xing Kong and the other young man in the face. Lu Ming, you deserve to die. You deserve to die. Xing Kong screamed hysterically. He felt that half of his face was no longer his. Audacious! Who dares to hit a member of the Xing family? You are courting death. At this moment, a roar rang out from within the city gate. Then, a figure swept over like a gust of wind. Swoosh! Before the figure arrived, a water sword formed by water currents pierced toward Lu Ming's glabella. The sword of flowing water contained a powerful concept of water. Lu Ming's expression changed. He felt a strong sense of threat from this sword. In an instant, the true essence in his body burst out crazily. The intent realm converged, and he thrust his spear forward. Bam! A crisp sound could be heard. Lu Ming realized that the water sword was tougher than an ordinary level 4 spiritual weapon. At the same time, there was an explosion of vast power. Lu Ming's body shook and he could not help but retreat. At this moment, a figure appeared beside Xing Kong and Lin Ming. This was a young man in a blue robe. He looked to be about 25 or 26 years old. He was handsome, but there was a trace of arrogance between his eyebrows. The moment this youth appeared, cries of surprise rang out. I didn't expect Xing Jiang to be so close. That kid's days are over. Xing Jiang became a king a year ago. But then again, this kid is really bold. He even dared to hit a member of the Xing family. I heard that he came from the east. I don't think he has heard of the Xing family. Some people shook their heads. They felt that Lu Ming was doomed. Brother Jiang, you came at the right time. This kid dared to hit us and humiliate our Xing family. This is unforgivable. Brother Jiang, you have to cripple him for me. When Xingkong saw Xingjiang, he was wild with joy and shouted excitedly. But what answered him was Xingjiang's kick. Xingjiang's kick landed on Xingkong's face, leaving him dumbfounded. Trash! You were beaten up so badly by a kid from the east. You are a disgrace to the Xing family. Xingjiang glanced at Xingkong coldly. Then, he looked at Lu Ming and said, however, no matter how trash a member of the Xing family is, he can't be beaten by an outsider. Kid, since you attacked us, you have to bear the consequences. His eyes were filled with disdain and he looked superior. Lu Ming curled his lips and sneered, oh? Are you saying that I can't fight back when they attack me? Is there such a logic in this world? Of course you can fight back. But if you fight back, you will have to pay a heavy price. Why? Do you need me to do it myself? Xingjiang said indifferently. Nonsense. If you want to fight, then fight. Lu Ming said coldly. Xingjiang's face darkened. He said coldly, stubborn. Don't think you can fight me just because you blocked one of my attacks. How naive. Now, I will show you the difference between a king in the lower realm and a king in the lower realm. As he spoke, a powerful aura burst out from Xingjiang's body. The aura of the peak 4th layer martial emperor realm and the 1st layer lesser success stage of water intent. Following this, Xingjiang waved his hand, causing a huge amount of water to appear in the sky. The water turned into swords of water. Kill! As Xingjiang waved his hand, at least 100 swords of water shot toward Lu Ming. The swords of water pierced through the sky, resulting in a shocking sonic boom. Lu Ming wore a stern look. He clenched his fist, causing the force of lightning to gather in the sky, forming spears of lightning. Go! Lu Ming waved his hand, causing the spears of lightning to fly forward and collide with the swords of water. Bang! 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 A series of explosions could be heard in the sky, which lasted for over 100 times. This was a clash between two intents. In the end, the swords of water and the spears of lightning disappeared. The spectators opened their eyes wide in astonishment. Lu Ming was able to block Xingjiang's attack. How could this be possible? Intense. This Lu Ming has already reached the 1st layer lesser success stage of the thunder intent. His intent is not any weaker than the intent of a lesser success stage king. Impressive, impressive. This way, he won't have any bottlenecks before breaking through to the lesser success stage. I think that in less than 2 years, this Lu Ming will become a lesser success stage king. If one reached the intent stage first, they would be able to break through as long as they accumulated enough energy. However, normal people would need 1 or 2 years to break through even if they continuously refined supreme-grade spiritual crystals. This was already very fast. Kid, so your thunder intent has already reached the 1st layer lesser success stage. No wonder you're so arrogant. However, battle prowess is a combination. Only when all kinds of factors are added together can a powerful battle prowess be formed. You and I are still far from each other. Bang! Xingjiang stepped forward. The true yuan on his body seemed to have solidified and was pulsing like blue flames. Slash! A middle-grade level 5 spiritual weapon battle sword appeared in Xingjiang's hand. Boundless true yuan and the intent of water merged as he slashed out. A sparkling blue sword light that was 100 meters long slashed down at Lu Ming. True Dragon Strike. Chapter 511. A tricolor dragon let out a furious roar and collided with Xingjiang's giant blue sword. Bang! Various colors of energy spread out in all directions. Shit! Back off! Some of the spectators with weaker cultivations backed off in fear. When the chi landed on the ground, inscriptions flashed across the ground. Not a single mark was left on the ground. Break! Xingjiang let out a roar as his aura grew stronger. The blue sword glow was even more powerful. The tricolor dragon only managed to resist for a brief moment before it was split in half by the sword glow. The sword glow did not stop there as it continued to slash toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming placed his spear in front of him. Dang! The sword glow struck the spear shaft. Lu Ming felt a powerful force surging toward him. His body shuddered violently as he was sent flying backward. After flying for over 100 meters, Lu Ming's feet finally landed on the ground. He then took another 7 steps backward, each step causing the ground to tremble violently. Lesser Success King Realm is indeed powerful. Lu Ming felt his chi and blood surging, as he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. The difference between the 3rd layer Martial King Realm and the 4th layer Martial King Realm was huge. It was not just a difference of 1 level, but 2. Lu Ming's current cultivation was at the peak of the 2nd layer Martial King Realm. With his strength, it was not difficult for him to kill a peak 3rd layer Martial King Realm cultivator. However, there was still a gap between him and a 4th layer Martial King Realm cultivator. It was not something that could be made up with a mere intent. Little did he know that Xingjiang's heart was filled with astonishment. At the same time, a violent murderous intent was emitted from his body. Lu Ming was only at the peak of the 2nd layer Martial King Realm, but he was able to block his attack several times. This was unbelievable, causing him to feel humiliated. It was his first time being blocked by a low-level King Realm cultivator. Die! Xingjiang let out a roar as a murderous intent burst out from his body. His aura was fully unleashed as he slashed toward Lu Ming. The slash caused the heavens and earth to tremble violently, which combined with Xingjiang's sword aura, causing Xingjiang's attack to reach its peak. This slash was even more powerful than the previous one. Boom! Lu Ming's body faintly emitted a dragon's roar as he revolved his true essence to the limit. At the same time, the power of his bloodline fused into his body. He also exerted his full strength. Even if he couldn't win, he would still fight to the end. Stop! At this moment, a loud shout was heard, and a white figure rushed over. Before he arrived, a resplendent sword light slashed towards Xingjiang. Its power was extremely shocking. Who? Xingjiang's expression changed. He had no choice but to change the direction of his sword momentum and blast towards the sword light. When the 2 sword lights collided, there was a loud explosion. Sword chi spread out in all directions. Xingjiang could not help but take 2 steps back. Whoosh! A figure appeared on the scene. He wore a snow-white robe, snow-white pants, and snow-white boots. His entire body was snow-white, and he looked like a divine jade. It's him. Lu Ming's expression changed. He recognized him. Wasn't this person Mu Xiuyuan? He had once kindly reminded Lu Ming. When did he come to the Central Region's Sky Profound Branch Palace? Lu Ming was somewhat puzzled. Mu Xiuyuan, it's you. When Xingjiang saw Mu Xiuyuan, his eyes narrowed slightly and he was somewhat surprised. Xingjiang, long time no see. I don't see any improvement in your skills. Mu Xiuyuan smiled slightly. Humph, Mu Xiuyuan, didn't you go to the Eastern region to train? When did you come back? Also, why did you stop me? Xingjiang asked coldly. I think it's none of your business when I come back. Also, Lu Ming is my friend. Of course, I have to intervene. Mu Xiuyuan said. This kid is your friend? Does that mean you have to intervene today? Xingjiang said with a gloomy face. He was quite wary of Mu Xiuyuan. Mu Xiuyuan's cultivation was higher than his, and he was a genius disciple of the Mu family. In the Tianxian domain, the Mu family's strength made the Xing family wary. The Mu family would not give the Xing family any face. That's right. Since I'm here today, you can't touch a single hair of his. If you want to fight, you can try. Don't blame me for being impolite. Mu Xiuyuan said with a smile. Good, very good. Mu Xiuyuan, you can protect him now, but can you protect him forever? There's plenty of time later. Let's wait and see. Xing Jiang laughed out of anger. He then turned around and strode away. Xing Kong, Xing Feng, and the others hurriedly followed, disappearing into the city in the blink of an eye. This kid knows Mu Xiuyuan. He's lucky to have avoided a disaster. He's lucky to have avoided it once. It's not that easy to avoid offending the Xing family. Based on my understanding of the Xing family, they won't let it go so easily. That's right. I wonder what will happen to this kid in the end. Around them, some people started to discuss among themselves and slowly dispersed. Lu Ming, are you all right? At this moment, Mu Xiuyuan looked at Lu Ming. Brother Mu, thank you for saving me. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said. Ah, you're welcome. Since you're Lan Er's friend, you're my friend. It's nothing. You don't have to thank me. Mu Xiuyuan laughed and was very forthright. Lan Er? Lu Ming was stunned. Oh? Lu Ming, it seems like you don't know. I'm Mulan's cousin. Mulan's once asked me to take care of you. I'm ashamed to say that I haven't been of any help to you. Mu Xiuyuan said with a smile. Lu Ming suddenly realized that Mu Xiuyuan was Mulan's cousin. No wonder he was so kind to Lu Ming from the beginning. May I know where Senior Mulan's is? I haven't seen Senior Mulan's since I joined the D Tian Divine Guards. At this moment, Lu Ming naturally wanted to seize the opportunity to ask. Yan Lan once told him that Mulan's father was a big shot in the D Tian Divine Palace. However, Lu Ming had joined the D Tian Divine Palace for so long and had yet to see Mulan's. Logically speaking, Mulan's should have taken the initiative to look for him when she knew that he had joined the D Tian Divine Guards. Lu Ming, it's not easy to see Mulan's. Mu Xiuyuan sighed. Why? Lu Ming quickly asked. Lu Ming, it seems like there are many things that you don't know. Now, let me explain it to you. First of all, Mulan's father is the current family head of the Mu family and also the palace master of the Tianxian branch palace. Mu Xiuyuan threw out a piece of important news. What? Senior Mulan's father is the palace master of the Tianxian branch palace? Lu Ming was taken aback. He was extremely surprised. Yan Lan said that Mulan's father was a big shot in the D Tian Divine Palace. He didn't expect him to be the #1 person in the Tianxian region branch palace, the palace master of the Tianxian branch palace. This was indeed out of Lu Ming's expectations. Then, Mu Xiuyuan explained in detail. Although the Mu family was known as one of the two major families in the Tianxian region, the Mu family had only risen for 100 years after all. Their foundation couldn't be compared to the Xing family. If the Mu family wanted to continue to be strong and continue to be strong, they had to borrow the strength of the Xing family. How could they borrow the strength of the Xing family? Chapter 512. Mulan's had been betrothed to an elite from the Xing family since she was young. However, Mulan's didn't seem to like such an arrangement. In her opinion, it was just an exchange of interests, even if the person she was betrothed to was extremely outstanding. Therefore, Mulan's had left the Tianxian branch palace very early on and ran to the Mystic Essence Sword sect. However, some time ago, because of Lu Ming, she sent a message to her father and agreed to return to the Emperor Sky Divine Palace in exchange for an invitation letter from Lu Ming. This matter was later found out by the elite from the Xing family, so he sent people to the Eastern Branch Palace. That was how the conflict between Lu Ming and the Xing family happened. After hearing this, Lu Ming was enlightened. Combined with what Yan Lan had told him back then, everything was clear to him now. Sigh, why did senior sister Mulan's do this? For an invitation letter of mine, she actually. Lu Ming sighed. Lu Ming, you don't have to blame yourself. In fact, that girl Mulan's also knows that she can't avoid it. When the time comes, her father will definitely send people to bring her back. In that case, she might as well take the initiative to get an invitation letter for you. Mu Xiuyuan said. However, Lu Ming still couldn't let it go. He frowned and said, "What do you want me to do?" How can I help senior sister Mullins? It's very difficult to help her. Mu Xiuyuan sighed. Tell me, as long as I can do it, I will do my best. Lu Ming said. It's very simple. As long as you defeat the elite from the Shing family who is betrothed to Mullins and prove that your talent is stronger than his, things will naturally take a turn for the better. Mu Xiuyuan said. As long as I defeat the other party. Lu Ming said. He was shocked. Lu Ming, it's very difficult to defeat the other party. Do you know who the other party is? He is known as the rare genius of the Shing family, the elite of the Shing family, Xing Xingchen. Mu Xiuyuan said. Oh? How strong is he? Lu Ming asked. Mu Xiuyuan did not answer. Instead, he pondered for a moment before asking, Lu Ming, do you know about the list of top 1,000 talents in the Eastern Wilderness? List of top 1,000 talents in Eastern Wilderness? Lu Ming was stunned. This was the first time he had heard of this. Mu Xiuyuan waved his hand and a thick book appeared. There were 5 words written on it, List of top 1,000 talents in the Eastern Wilderness. The list of top 1,000 talents in the Eastern Wilderness is compiled by the top Chamber of Commerce in the continent, the Tianji Chamber of Commerce. It includes the top 1,000 most powerful geniuses under the age of 30 in the Eastern Wilderness. This is the list of top 1,000 geniuses of the Eastern Wilderness. In the vast Eastern Wilderness, there are countless regions. However, there are only 1,000 geniuses. You can imagine that each of these 1,000 geniuses is a terrifying genius. The Saint Star is ranked 998 on the list of top 1,000 talents. He's also the only genius in the Tianxian domain who made it onto the list of top 1,000 talents in the Eastern Wilderness. His cultivation has definitely reached the King realm. Mu Xiuyuan explained seriously. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. He flipped to the last few pages of the list of top 1,000 talents and saw Saint Star's name. His cultivation was also at the King realm, but it did not specify which level of martial king he was at. Is the list of top 1,000 talents in the Eastern Wilderness accurate? The Eastern Wilderness is so big and there are so many geniuses. Can all of them really make it onto the list? Lu Ming asked doubtfully. Mu Xiuyuan nodded and said, the Tianji Chamber of Commerce is the top chamber of commerce in the continent. It's extremely powerful and has spread all over the continent. It's also the most well-informed. Therefore, although the list of top 1,000 talents in the Eastern Wilderness is not 100% accurate, it's pretty close. Lu Ming nodded and muttered, list of top 1,000 talents? That's why it's too difficult to defeat Saint Star. Mu Xiuyuan sighed. I'll definitely defeat him. Lu Ming muttered to himself. However, he did not say it aloud. Before he had the strength, it was enough to keep it to himself. If he said it aloud, others would take it as a joke. Forget it. Let's not talk about this. Lu Ming, you're new to Tianxian City. Let me show you around. Tianxian City is very different from other places. Mu Xiuyuan shook his head as if he wanted to get rid of his worries. A smile appeared on his face. Sure. Lu Ming nodded. Then, Lu Ming and Mu Xiuyuan headed to Tianxian City together. As soon as they entered Tianxian City, Lu Ming saw layers upon layers of houses. The houses were pitch black and made of black stones, and they were filled with an ancient aura. Most of these houses had been preserved from the ancient times, along with Tianxian City. The spiritual qi of heaven and earth is so dense. And, is that the essence of heaven and earth? Lu Ming's expression changed and he was amazed. The spiritual qi of heaven and earth in Tianxian City was much denser than in the eastern subsidiary palace. Moreover, there was a faint essence of heaven and earth in the air, which surprised Lu Ming. Cultivating here would allow one to comprehend the essence of heaven and earth much faster than in the outside world. Mu Xiuyuan smiled and said, Tianxian City is built on a large spiritual qi eye and a Dao eye. It is filled with dense spiritual qi of heaven and earth and a strong essence of heaven and earth. This is only the periphery of Tianxian City. The deeper you go, the more intense the spiritual chi and essence of heaven and earth will be. Oh! Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Then, the two of them walked along the street and went deeper into Tianxian City. Along the way, Lu Ming looked around. There was not a single shop on either side of the street, which surprised Lu Ming. This was the first time Lu Ming saw a city without shops. Mu Xiuyuan seemed to have seen through Lu Ming's thoughts. He smiled and said, Tianxian City is different from other cities. In Tianxian City, every inch of land is worth its weight in gold. Every mansion and room is a sacred place for cultivation. Therefore, most of the Tian divine guards have to rent a house in Tianxian City. Rent a house? Lu Ming was surprised. Yes, rent a house. The entire Tianxian City is divided into 4 zones. The outermost zone is the first zone. Normally, renting a house will cost between 100,000 lower spiritual crystals and 1 million lower spiritual crystals a day. Most of the houses here are rented by martial ancestor realm martial artists. As you go deeper into the second zone, the spiritual chi of heaven and earth and essence of heaven and earth will be even denser. The rental fee will also increase greatly. Renting a house for a day will cost between 1 and 10 spiritual crystals. In the third zone, renting a house for a day will cost between 10 and 100 spiritual crystals. Mu Xiuyuan explained. See, Lu Ming gasped a breath of cold air. This price was too expensive. It was ridiculously expensive. One should know that the Tao Enlightenment Palace in the Eastern Palace only cost 100 spiritual crystals for a day of cultivation. However, in the third zone, the most expensive price was 100 spiritual crystals a day. What about the fourth zone? Lu Ming asked. The third zone was already so expensive. How many spiritual crystals would the fourth zone cost?